When you reach into another state and grab one of their better kids, you've done pretty well. Jeremy Pruitt. Rico McGraw seems like a Jeremy Pruitt guy more than a Georgia Bulldogs guy. Explain.
Yeah, he committed to Pruitt. I mean, not so much Georgia. I mean, he hasn't talked about it since. I mean, McGraw's been very quiet. I mean, he was at the Birmingham Nike camp and basically said no interviews. And that was, what, a month and a half after.
Why no interviews?
From what I understand, some reporters twisted some words around in the past, and right now just not ready to put anything on the record in anybody's hands to work with right now. But anyway, he is committed to Georgia. You know, he is visiting other schools, in particular Alabama, maybe Auburn's in there as well. But I think right now he's fairly Georgia strong. Like you said, Pruitt's his guy. Pruitt met him a couple years ago at Alabama at a camp. He's been recruiting for Alabama and FSU since. And then when he came to Georgia, the same. He was Pruitt's first big splash when he got the hire. And it's a very good one. I mean, he's a top 2 or 3 kid in Tennessee. He got hurt playing basketball early in the year. So he's been slowed by that this spring. But when the kid's healthy, you know, he's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. He's thick. He can.
Let me ask it this way: when no one really has necessarily really been very introduced to him in state. Who would he compare to in state in the last, say, 3 years?
I'm not good at the comparison game. I mean, he's just I mean, I see him somewhat with better cover skills of a guy like maybe a Bakari Rambo type of guy. I mean, he's not the blow-me-away size guy, more of a compact body, can play physical. He's played some running back for his team, obviously defensive back, safety, and corner. He has very good instincts, great ball skills, and he can play corner safety here at Georgia one day. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see just kind of where his body goes once he gets back, where he can run and move around 100% and get back into football shape, which is about now for him. But a kid I like. I mean, he's been in 3 state championship games the last 3 years at Ensworth High School. Comes from a great program. He'll be very well coached, very well developed as a player, and he's Pruitt's guy, like you said. I mean, Pruitt's on him. Stays in communication with him. He's been up to see him twice, the evaluation period. I mean, right now everything looks good for Georgia.
Now, let me ask this: you know, if you're Georgia, or if you're pretty much enter the name of any school in the South, it's tough to keep your own guys in state. That's just a challenge. Georgia's been able to pick a few kids here and there from Tennessee, whether you start talking about Marlin or even Austin Long. I mean, Austin Long had a back injury that kept him out of ever really playing at Georgia. How well do they – I mean, Georgia, where do they stand in Tennessee? Obviously, I think Tennessee's the biggest one, and maybe Alabama's next, or Georgia in the recruiting world.
Yeah, I would say Bama's probably next. Yeah. I mean, if not the top dog. I mean, obviously, of course, in-state schools always. I mean, people grew up like in Tennessee. Family went there. Mom, dad loves UT. I mean, it was for a long time, it was the only team in town. You know, you had, of course, Vanderbilt, but there was no Tennessee Titans, you know, years ago. I mean,
well, Tennessee is the biggest thing in Tennessee. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, on the river, we have a lot of history and tradition there. But, yeah, I mean, Georgia's right there. I mean, they're not going there and pick, but you only have typically 10 to 12 top-tier SEC type of kids anyway. So if Georgia can get 1 or 2 of those top guys a year, that's not a bad thing.
That's a tough – I tell you, Butch Jones and them, they've done pretty well for what they've got. That's a tough recruiting situation.
A lot of good skill guys, you know, Butch Jones, whether it be from his offense at Cincinnati, throwing the ball around.
You have to block occasionally.
They do. They've lost all those guys.
Those guys have retired.
And D-line, too. But, yeah, they're getting some skill guys.
Okay, Rico McGraw.